I'm Jo Comerford, and I represent the Hampshire Franklin Worcester District in the Massachusetts State Senate. And I'm here to celebrate Tapestry Health and to raise up a cheer for the spring brunch. Now, I wish I could be with you in person as we have been for many years, celebrating Tapestry's absolutely essential work, but we can't be together in person. We can, though, be together virtually. So I hope you join me and my wife, Anne, in celebrating Tapestry at the Tapestry Spring Brunch. Now, Tapestry's work was important before COVID-19, and now during the pandemic, it's only grown that much more important. All you have to do is go to tapestryhealth.org and look at the list of services that Tapestry's team has been providing before COVID, during COVID, and with our help after COVID. So they're just a gift to our wider community. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to seeing you at the brunch.
Hi, my name's Dave Sullivan. I'm the Northwestern District Attorney, and I'm so proud to support Tapestry's work in the community. Every day, Tapestry does life-saving work, and where they work with our office is on harm reduction for those that have addictions, particularly opiate addictions. Their Narcan program has been pioneering, going out into the community and being present so that people can get the life-saving Narcan when they overdose. And this cannot be underestimated. Thousands of people have been helped through these Narcan distributions, and I can't say enough about how Tapestry works with people. They do it in a non-judgmental way. They do it without shame or stigma. And that's what we really need with this addiction crisis. We need compassion, and we need to make sure that we don't stigmatize people. And their syringe exchange program has been also pioneering. It started in Holyoke and Northampton and has spread down into Hampden County and Springfield and also up in Franklin County. And that syringe exchange program just makes such a difference for people. They don't have those serious infections. They don't get HIV. They don't get hepatitis. All those things amount to, when they do get well, when they overcome that addiction, that they're able to carry on and have a healthy and productive life. So I just want to thank everybody for the support that they give Tapestry and try to give generously at the Spring Brunch. Thank you.
Tapestry has a no stigma approach to healthcare that ensures that everyone in our community has access to quality, supportive, compassionate, and confidential care. And as essential healthcare providers, Tapestry's frontline staff have continued to safely provide services to people in need throughout the pandemic. So please join with Greenfield Savings Bank and give your financial support to Tapestry and the healthcare, training, and educational services that they provide.
Hi, I want to talk about why I love Tapestry. I think it's an amazing organization. I have been going there for services for over 20 years. I've been supporting for over 20, 30 years. So many good things about it, all the different services. I moved up here from Atlanta in '93, and I went to the Feminist Women's Health Center there with my sister every year. And when I got to Northampton, I was looking around for something similar, a local version of Planned Parenthood, and I found Tapestry, and I was so happy. And I have just the best caretakers there, and the staff and everyone are wonderful. And I just love their services. I'm so impressed. They give out birth control and information about it. They do STD testing. They do cervical and breast cancer screening. They talk about emergency contraception and supplies. They do HIV testing. They do HIV prevention medication. They also deal with overdose and opioid crisis, so prevention and education around that. Syringe access and disposal, also Narcan for people who need that, and for women breastfeeding, there's support for that. There's the WIC program, which is Women, Infants, and Children, food access for women, infants, and children, and general community education around all these health issues, which are so crucial to all of us. I'm just so pleased that it exists here, and our band, the O-Tones, donates every year to the Spring Brunch as a sponsor, and I like to donate a painting to the auction, which always raises extra money. I just think it's an incredible organization, and I'm so pleased to be part of it in this community and around the state.
Hi, my name is Monica Borgatti and I support Tapestry Health because they believe everyone should have access to healthcare, and so do I. My first experience with Tapestry was as a patient 20-something years ago, and I'm proud to be a donor now. Whether it's for reproductive or sexual health care, needle access, overdose prevention, or education about any of those things, at Tapestry, everyone can get the care that they need and deserve, regardless of their age, gender identity, sexual orientation, or race. And this is particularly important knowing how much racial bias plays into health disparities today. I am proud to support Tapestry because they keep all of our neighbors, our friends, and our loved ones safe and healthy, and I hope you will support Tapestry too.
I talk about Tapestry all the time because I see the amazing work they're doing, and we would just encourage anyone to offer whatever support they can. I moved to Western Massachusetts about 8 years ago, and Tim Purrington was actually my landlord, and at the time Tapestry was recruiting new board members, and he reached out to me because he knew that I was new to the area, that I had experience in the financial industry. I worked for a community bank, and as a gay man, that he thought I would make a good fit. We toured a syringe access site, and I got to meet some of the staff and actually a couple of clients, and just knew immediately it was the kind of organization that I wanted to volunteer my time. There's absolutely no judgment when you come to Tapestry. We often say, you know, we meet people where they are, and that's 100% true, so that people can feel safe and that it's an environment that they can come to be honest and get the help that they need and not be worried about what someone might be thinking of their lifestyle or who they are as a person or where they come from. For me, growing up in a relatively small Midwestern town in Missouri, it was extremely conservative politically, religiously. It's difficult to even imagine, you know, being 15, 16 years old. I would have been scared, but if there had been a place like Tapestry, I would have gone. And I think I would have had a better education. I would have felt better about myself, understood that I wasn't alone, got real sex ed. I think it just would have made things a lot easier for me. I got there in the end. I'm good, I'm happy. But now I can help support an organization like that for others because I see how important it is now and how life-changing it would have been for me, you know, both as a teenager and as a young adult.
Hi everyone, this is Tara Brewster, one of the co-hosts of Tapestry's Spring Brunch. I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone that has sponsored, stepped up and donated, individuals, businesses. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. We appreciate you endlessly.
Today's an exciting day. It's our Spring Brunch Fundraiser 2021. Come on, join me. Good morning, Emma. Come on, follow me. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, bienvenido. Thank you all for attending this special event. Gracias por estar con nosotros en este día especial. My hopes are that once you leave, you will leave with the need to be part of Tapestry as we continue to serve our brothers and sisters in our communities.
Tapestry is a community-based organization that meets individuals where they are. That's if you are uninsured or low income. That's if you are a drug user trying to get assistance. That's if you are a pregnant or new mom who needs guidance as far as nutrition. We're all that rolled in one, and based on whatever you say within any one of those program doors, we're gonna try to help you in every aspect of your life that we can.
As we engage with people on a very basic level on what their needs are at the moment. And of course, it could be anything from health, which is our main engagement, but on top of that, we know that there's a host of other needs. I mean, it can be something as simple as washing their hands or getting them a pair of socks that they need, or a toothbrush and giving them actually a space that they can brush their teeth.
That person that's coming in kind of struggling with everything, whether if it's addiction, mental health issues, chronic homeless.
The neighborhood kid down the street the mother who goes to PTA meetings, who happens to use on the side, the trans woman who I happen to know from college.
For that split second, then we're just two human beings having a conversation.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce our CEO for Tapestry Health, Cheryl Zoe. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hi, Damaris.
Hello, Cheryl.
Good to see you.
You too. I'm very happy to have you here to talk about these things, but also just reflecting, it's been 1.5 years since we've been this close.
Amazing.
Thank goodness for vaccination.
I agree.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Damaris. Thank you for joining Tapestry this morning. It's been a difficult year and a reckoning along so many of the fronts that connect to Tapestry's mission. The unmistakable evidence of systemic racism that we can no longer ignore, the rise of white nationalism as we saw in the insurrection in January, and the cultivation of hatred toward Black people and other people of color, toward Asian, Muslim, and Jewish people, toward people coming to the US from other countries to seek safety, and toward people who are trans, toward people who use drugs, and just so many others. These systemic cancers create a dangerous environment that denies people their human rights to safety and security and to health and well-being by ginning up fear of so-called outsiders and creating stigma that isolates all of us to our peril. Protecting the human right to health and well-being, specifically by dismantling barriers created by hatred and stigma, is central to Tapestry's mission. Indeed, the centering of access without stigma is what distinguishes Tapestry from many other healthcare providers, as we focus on areas where stigma is so strong. You can see this in the through line of Tapestry's development, from sexual health to HIV to substance use and onward. During this event, you'll hear many examples of how Tapestry strives to make health and well-being available to everyone by breaking down these barriers. You'll also see how central bodily autonomy is to this project. We recognize each and every person's right to choose how to live their life without judgment, and we provide them with the tools they want for their own health and well-being. I'm especially proud of the way our staff, with creativity and dedication, adapted to ensure that this went on uninterrupted this year despite COVID. We've done a lot this year. Expanded our new gender-affirming hormone therapy, added locations for harm reduction work in the community, increased health services for people who use drugs, launched a mobile health project, did COVID testing, and we developed novel digital education with videos and other tools to increase access for people to choices that reduce harm, improve their health and well-being, and in some cases, give them what they need to survive. While we accomplished a lot this year, it's also been a humbling one. We understand how much more we need to do to become a force against racism and other structural inequities, and that we have to continue to ask questions and learn from our community about what is truly needed. We know this is hard work, and we've made a commitment to do it. So we're very glad you're here today to learn more about our work, and we're glad that you're here to join us on this journey. Thank you so much for taking the time.
We're now going to go over to a Zoom interview with Tapestry peer breastfeeding counselor Megan and Rose, who will share some of the barriers our participants face.
Healthcare is a human right. Everybody should have access to healthcare. Could each of you kind of speak about that and why you believe that, why WIC believes that?
It just goes back to this whole stigma thing. Now that race is like a big, and I don't want to say big issue, but we're more aware of this whole race discrepancies and stuff like that. A white woman has a higher chance of surviving her birth compared to a Black woman or a Latino woman, Hispanic woman. So that to me, it's like, but why? Like in my mind, I thought a doctor's a doctor. You just walk in, they're going to treat you. But all I keep saying is, but why? Why is it this way? Like, what did I do? Why? So I just wish it was just all across for everybody and move on. And I think the world will be happier and it will be a lot easier for everybody.
Sometimes it's hard specifically what we've seen, like, for example, partnering with the hospital and seeing, one mom who is doing everything that they ask and not really struggling and receiving superior service to another mother who is, African American, who is struggling, doing her best at what they're suggesting her to doing, and she's not getting that equal support. So it's like, it's unfortunate, but it happens really often, especially in the lactation field, where moms either are getting that biased support, not getting the support, don't have money for the support. So it's unfortunate that everyone doesn't get standard help.
And for a baby to latch, that's like a major goal for these moms, and that's like what they're aiming for. So then we're there during the day and we're like sitting with them, and if we have to cry, we cry with them, and we cry happy tears, sad tears, whatever tears you need, they're there. And then comes the nurse after we leave and just pops a bottle to the baby. And then the next time we see the mom, she's like, well, the nurse just like messed up our whole journey. Like now so it was so incredible. And, we're trying to go back to the NICU now because of the pandemic. We were not allowed there. So now we're trying to go back. But it's like, for us, we gave suggestions on what to do, how to help these moms. They did hire lactation consultants, but they don't speak Spanish and they're not Black.
Also, who they're bringing in is older white women who can't really say they relate to us because, we've been on WIC. You can't really say that you understand our financial struggles, anything that we're going to by day, because you really don't experience it because you don't have that lifestyle. So to have people, judging you that don't necessarily understand what you're going through, it can be hard. They're just telling you do X, Y, and Z. And if you can't do X, Y, and Z, you're already shunned. And where we're coming from is, well, at least you made it to X. You almost made it to Y, and we congratulate you for trying your very best. And we don't know how hard of a struggle it was for you to make it as far as you did. So we're just praising you for all that you have done.
It's to the point where I don't even tell my primary care that I'm using because I feel they judge me and then I won't get the appropriate help that I need help for. Same with my psychiatrist, my med provider. It's like I want to be totally honest, but yet I can't be totally honest because I won't get the help I need to get help.
I think a lot of the times we come back to our own personal stories when we think about human rights and the people around us who we've seen not be treated like humans or not have access to their human rights. So to be able to give somebody a chance to come in and say, like, this really stresses me out, I have a anxiety about medical practices, and then to be able to talk through and or just listen is, I think, a basic human right, and something that we really practice at Tapestry. It's my favorite part of my job, which you might hear me say a lot. I have a lot of favorite parts of my job, so.
WIC and Reproductive Health Services moved to expand the virtual access. Our sexual education program moved virtually. One of the projects that has come from this are increased videos. I want to share one that is going to be a little bit of a commercial break.
For as long as there have been humans, there has been thirst. Though technology has changed over the years, the desire to share steamy content with that special someone has never gone out of style. When cell phones and computers became our primary means of communication, the reign of sexting began. Sexting is the exchange of sexual content over digital media. That includes sending messages, emojis, pictures, and videos. Having an interest in sexting is a completely healthy urge. But before you press send, take a moment to make sure that you're sexting in a safe and healthy way. Heads up! Taking, sending, and receiving nudes if you're a minor is illegal, so safer sexting is especially important if you're under 18. Like every sexual activity, sexting has risks and benefits, so it's important to be informed about whether or not sexting is right for you and your relationship. Let's face it, we've all heard horror stories of leaked nudes and videos. Losing control over an image of your body is a scary thought, and many people choose not to sext for this reason. Some folks choose not to sext because they're not ready, or because it doesn't align with their values, and that's okay. For others, sexting is a way to explore sexual interests and maintain intimacy with a partner over distance. Some people feel that sexting is empowering and pleasurable without some of the risk factors of other sexual activities. For example, when you're taking nude pictures of yourself, you don't have to worry about contracting an STI or getting pregnant. If you and your partner decide that you want sexting to be a part of your relationship, you're not done talking yet. Sexting in a safe and healthy way requires ongoing conversation. You must always get and give consent before sending or receiving sexts. Consent is an enthusiastic yes. Just remember that consent is never guaranteed, and that a no must always be respected as a hard no. Getting consent doesn't have to be awkward. Get creative, but always be clear. In healthy sexting, just like in healthy sex, no one feels pressured to participate. Consent can always be taken back if you feel uncomfortable or no longer interested in sexting. Make your expectation of consent part of a larger conversation with your partner about sexting. Discuss your interests and comfort levels, and figure out what type of content you each want to send and receive. Just like there are tools to help you practice safe sex, there are steps that you can take to practice safe and healthy sexting. Turn off message previews under your notification settings. Make sure that you are the only one who can access sexts by locking your phone or electronic device. If your parents check your phone regularly, make sure you communicate that to your partner, and discuss your privacy expectations. Do you want your partner to immediately delete any images or messages you send them? Are screenshots okay? Deleting sexts as soon as possible lowers the risk of images getting leaked, but as always, you should figure out what is best for your specific relationship. Here's a tip though. If you delete images from your phone, make sure they're deleted from your albums and the trash can. And make sure to delete them from any other devices your phone might be synced to. Believe me, no one wants to see your nudes on the family cloud. That said, if you do decide to send nude images, protect your privacy by cropping your face out of the picture. Your partner will know it's you, but nobody else needs to. Also, use emojis to cover up identifying features like tattoos, birthmarks, or jewelry. Figure out what feels good for you and what works for you and your partner. With this safety checklist in mind, you are now ready to go forth and sext. Or don't. It's up to you. Whatever choice you make, you should feel confident, informed, and empowered.
We talk a lot about access without stigma. You all have seen this in our materials, our website, and social media. We want to take some time for you to hear directly about what it means in the work that Tapestry staff do and what it means to our participants.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, Tapestry started delivering virtual visits. For those we cannot serve by telehealth and that do require a face-to-face visit, we are accommodating those visits through hours designated as direct care hours.
We live in a day and age where schools aren't really doing a ton around sex education, where they're not doing a ton around drug education and safety and forethought planning, so that folks, maybe they're not using drugs now, but maybe they potentially would later. But if they receive the education now, we could actually curb that later for them, or at least have them make healthier decisions about themselves is really, really important. It's not always about just saying, don't use drugs. It's more about make educated decisions about yourself and how you can keep yourself healthy.
Tapestry's harm reduction services has always provided essential services to the most marginalized populations in Western Mass. A lot of essential services have been disrupted for people who use drugs and for others that are vulnerable. So the need to really meet people where they're at has increased tremendously. There's been additional barriers to things like accessing food or accessing public transportation, accessing detox and other forms of treatment, accessing medication for opioid use disorder. So all of these barriers has caused an increased amount of isolation and fear among the people who use drugs. So Tapestry has responded to that and literally taking the van out and going to places where we know that people are and literally meeting them where they're at.
During COVID is very important because people are losing their jobs and people are getting furloughed. So obviously we know there's a need out there. Even before COVID, there is always a need out there for food assistance. We have now, you can apply online and we'll get that application and we'll give you a call. And we'll do like a screening over the phone and see if you like qualify. Even if you're getting unemployment, you do qualify. Even if you're not getting paid, we would make the exception of making you qualify for a program and just, getting the services that you need during this time.
As a small nonprofit that's been around for all these years, we've managed to keep that sort of personal touch in a way, while still providing the competence and the compassion.
Access without stigma when we're talking about sexual and reproductive health services as well as gender affirming services. That means that someone gets to come in. It does not matter how they're identifying on that day or the next time they come in. It doesn't matter what they came in for or with or what infection they need treatment for or what happened that caused their need to come in. They get to access the services that they need at the time that they need them when they're ready to receive them. So some folks aren't always ready for everything that we have to provide. For instance, we offer birth control. They may not be ready to go to that step yet. Maybe they're coming in consistently for something like Plan B. That's success because they're coming back. They're coming back in. And so to stigmatize that and to say, well, you should have just gone on birth control and you wouldn't need to take Plan B all the time, that's the stigma that we are being able to erase. We're saying, great, that's awesome. That was success that you came back in. We'll continue to be here. We'll continue to provide you Plan B. And when you feel ready, if that day comes, come on back and see us and we'll talk to you about birth control. But we're not going to push that on them. We're going to offer healthcare when it's best for them, because when it's best for us is not always when it's best for them. And so that's really important for us to remember. When someone is ready to go on hormones, that's when it's best for them. It's not always safe for them to start when we might be able to provide it for them. It might be 6 months or a year or 2 years down the road. We'll still be there to be able to provide those services. So it's really about opening up that door, listening to someone's story without judgment, and understanding that we are all human people. We're out there doing our lives and that we just need a safe space to be able to receive healthcare, to receive non-judgmental healthcare, and to receive services that are accessible, affordable, and that kind of speak your own language as well, that allow folks to come in to see folks that look like them, that act like them, that live within their community, who understand what they're going through as well, a little bit as well. That's really important.
I can't say, well, you should breastfeed because, it's best for your baby. I always remind them your mental health is matters. It's important. So if it's causing you more stress than the good it's doing for your baby, then it's not worth it. We have moms that live in shelters that, they have to share their fridge and they're concerned about their milk getting, moved in the fridge and then going bad, or being dumped because the other families don't know what it is or being disgusted by it. I've had women that are pumping because their babies were taken by DCF early on and they're trying to keep their supply and they're trying to get their children back. Women in abusive relationships. It's, they're open with you, you take it in, and that's how you have to counsel. You can't counsel from your perspective on your life. You have to counsel on what is the best decision for you and your family.
There's a lady that comes here and she's like a younger lady. She's probably like I think like her 20s, 26 or something like that. And you can see in her face there's a lot that she's been going through a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? So every time she comes here, I try to give her pants, shirts, socks, whatever she needs, like And I like, I like the human being that she is. I know that she's a nice person. She's a good person. Yeah, she's going through shit right now, but a lot of people go through a lot of things in their lives. You know what I'm saying? So for me to try to like open something for her, that perspective, you know what I mean? And for her to leave, like, oh my God, thank you so much. You're so nice. And she even started. She was about to start crying when she was here. And I could see it on her face. Her eyes are watery. Mama, you okay? Like, I don't understand you like this. I don't even know her now to die, you know what I mean? But I told her, yo, we could go in this room and we could talk. Like, if you really need somebody to talk to, I'm here. She was like, she was like, thank you so much. Like, I know that, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for helping me out every time I come here. And I love that. That makes me feel good. So
a client came in and typically it's a quick visit with this client, and instead this time I went into the room and I was just like, what else, is there anything else that we can do? And they were like, actually, I can't see and I need glasses. And so I was like, great, let's look up, where do we go when we need glasses? And that person also didn't want to make that initial phone call. So I made the phone call for them. That's, I think, what I mean when I say harm reduction is this person's been coming to us for months. And at this particular time, there was a little extra time given, and they came out and said, I need glasses. I can't see in front of my hand right here. That same client called us a couple days later, and their friend was in a medical emergency, and they were like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And so in that instance, we were able to provide some resources, a phone number, and say, like, thank you so much for calling us, for having us be a resource when you didn't know what to do. And so in that regard, it felt like we're not just giving this client gender affirming hormone care, we're also checking in to see if they need more services. And I think even in a place that does have access without stigma as a philosophy, in practice, it's still really hard for people to access care without stigma. And I felt like in that particular relationship with that client, they knew that they could call us for an emergency. And it took us months to build that trust with them to be able to do that. And so that is one of many examples that I have right off the top of my head about like healthcare, not just being about sexual and reproductive healthcare for PrEP or for having safe supplies, but also being able to see and being able to make that phone call happen when somebody has anxiety about just making a phone call, which I see with a lot of clients who are navigating multiple stigmas.
And we're in the parking lot, and I don't know, something just kept on telling me just stay in the parking lot, right? And, we have a smoke, we smoke a cigarette, and I don't know, like something just kept on telling me, stay there. And as she's gonna reach for her door, I keep striking conversation, right? Out of the corner of my eye, I see this man running, freaking out. His buddy was overdosing in his car. I take the bag that I got with me for the Narcan, right, and I run over there. And I open the door, and there's this young kid, man, probably my son's age. Pretty big kid, though, and I can't get him out. He's out cold. He's out cold. I could barely even feel a pulse on him. I hit him with Narcan, and I start breathing for him. And I'm breathing for him, right? And I'm counting how many times I'm breathing every 5 seconds. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, so if after 15 breaths, I'm gonna hit him again. So I hit him again with the Narcan. By this time, there's like 50 people behind me, freaking out. And I feel, as soon as I Narcan the second time, somebody pulls me off him, and it's a nurse. I don't know from where she came from. And I tell her, listen, you gotta wait a couple minutes before you administer Narcan, right? And she doesn't listen, she Narcans him, and literally within a few seconds, you could see just the Narcan coming down. So I grab her, I tell her to get the fuck out, And I cursed at her, and I apologize. I tried to apologize after her, right? And I continue breathing for this brother, and I Narcan him again the third time. Literally, maybe 7, 8, maybe 10 minutes passed, I don't know. Got his head on my arm, in my hand, and I'm about to tongue him down again with breath. Literally, I'm about to, and I'm inside of me, it's that feeling's already coming. Just give up, it's gone, right? Inside of me, bro, I'm like, man, fuck that. And I'm like 2 or 3 inches from his face, man, he opens up his eyes. Literally, Huge.
There can be no judgment when it comes to this. You can't judge nobody, you know, from his cover. From, like they say, you can't judge a book by its cover. The same thing. You can judge that person because of what they're doing and what they're going through because you don't know why. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's no going in around it. You know what I'm saying? There's like nothing else you can do about it. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's kind of, to me, it's interesting to hear you like talk about the participants and be like, they're so smart.
Yeah, because
or like they're so creative.
I'd be surprised. I swear to God, I'd be surprised. Like, damn, like, I don't know, like you could use that or something else. You know what I'm saying? But like, then shit happens. So you know.
Yeah, but just in terms of like people that use drugs are humans, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And they have skills.
Yes.
And they can contribute to society.
Yeah.
And they're valuable people.
Yeah, there's a guy that came here, I think it was on Wednesday, and Pedro was here. And, you know, he's a participant or whatever. His brother comes here all the time too. So they like, his brother sings, and he likes rap. You know what I'm saying? So he was here Wednesday. He was like singing, and we heard some music of his own. And like, damn, yo, you got that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything sounded right. Everything was correct. Everything was on point. Everything was making sense. I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Infinitely committed to this affinity. I promise to be assiduous and passionate in the pursuit of our happiness. Although at times I seem to subliminally deprive my mind of its own serenity, said I find myself engulfed by your divinity. Mind, body, and soul, you have a hold on my once antiseptic trinity. But you as the sun is, you bring forth warmth to that which was once cold. Oh, the beautifulness of your ability to turn my sorrows into better tomorrows. You are my infinity. Your voice plays in my mind like a beautifully orchestrated symphony. You see, I find myself drawn and quite fond of your dignity, intelligence, elegance, and humility. Therefore, you must be an angelic being that I'm seeing, so I promise to be definitively submitted to this affinity. Bless, a.k.a. Blesido.
I think what we try to do here in the community as well is just like we try to empower participants that come through our program by providing that education, and hopefully they can choose to make safer practices.
Taking autonomy and saying I have the right to health care. Even though I use drugs and I use drugs in a chaotic manner, I still have a right to health care. I have a right to food. I have a right to these things.
And it's a huge difference. A huge difference. That give back factor, again, in for-profit, there's only so much you can do. Do you have insurance? Do you not? And that really doesn't play a factor here. That's what sets Tapestry apart.
We have the ability to show solidarity rather than charity.
Like your family, you know, and you are a patient and I'm helping you out, but you are just part of the whole Tapestry.
Tapestry serves an essential population of folks, and they are at their greatest need. And we want to continue to be here when folks are ready to receive those services. So the only way to do that is if we consistently have funding.
As you all know, this is a fundraising event, and we do need all of you to keep forward with us as we serve our community. There are many ways to give. For some, that might be sharing information, spreading the word about Tapestry. For some, it might be a donation of $10 or $10,000. The important thing about our communities is that we all have a part to play. I do ask you to consider what that part is for you and what it is to join. Please join us. So the one thing I want to leave with you this morning before you go off to enjoy the rest of your day is to ask you to please get on the bus with us. Continue to support our communities' access to health care. Come on, let's jump on this bus. Hi everyone, come on, join us. Let's fill this bus.
you.